Good evening, this is Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. The big debate tonight, should India stop playing cricket with Pakistan after the Pulwama attack? The Indian Cricket Board has written to the International Cricket Council, the ICC, saying that cricketing nations should sever ties with any country where terrorism emanates from. That means, of course, Pakistan. Is this even possible, especially with the World Cup coming up soon? Well, that's the big question that we're asking tonight. The ICC getting this letter from the BCCI saying that cricketing nations should sever ties with any country from where terrorism emanates. However, after a meeting of the cricket administrators today, their chief Vinod Rai said that they were still talking to the government and that no decision had been taken yet on the June 16th World Cup match between the two countries. Crucially, the officials also say they fear for the safety and security of players, officials and fans at the World Cup in Britain. The Congress's Shashi Tharoor had said earlier today that not playing with Pakistan would be worse than a surrender, as it would be a defeat without a fight. However, India's demand for a ban on Pakistan is easier said than done. Firstly, the ICC has to accept India's letter. Secondly, it has to be put up for a vote. India will need at least 7 votes for the ICC to agree, and those ain't coming easily yet. And finally, Pakistan can change that decision by moving a court of arbitration for sports. Let's listen to what Vinod Rai told reporters earlier today.
We are telling the cricketing community that in future they must sever ties with nations from which such terror emanates. Okay, that's one decision. So we'll give you copies of that mail which has gone.
Well, Sachin Tendulkar has become the latest to weigh in on this debate. Sachin Tendulkar saying that India has always come up trumps against Pakistan in the World Cup. It's time to beat them again. Would personally hate to give them 2 points and help them in the tournament. For me, India always comes first, so whatever my country decides, I'll back that decision with all my heart. But there are clearly consequences for India when it comes to linking politics with international sporting events. Today, the International Olympic Committee, or the IOC, has said it will not allow India to organize any Olympic-related events after Pakistani shooters were not issued visas for the World Cup in Delhi. All ongoing discussions about such events have been suspended, with the Olympics body asking the Indian government for written assurances. The IOC has also revoked the Olympic qualification status for the men's 25-meter rapid-fire event from the World Cup. Well, joining us on the program to talk about this is Pradeep Magazine, senior sports editor. We have Latika Khaneja, who's the managing partner of the Collage Sports Management. Former cricketer Atul Vasan joins us, and Dilip Cherian, image consultant and consulting partner of Perfect Relations, joining us as well. Atul, to you first. Weigh in on this and please be honest about what you really think. We're not testing your patriotism here, but do you think that India and Pakistan should be suspending cricket after this attack? What do you honestly believe?
Well, actually we have for a while, and we keep on doing that and then going back to it, because cricket has been used as a vehicle by the government to just showcase that things are getting back to normal. So the first thing that happens when any attack happens is we take the cricket away, and we take the bilateral away, but we keep on playing them in the World Cups, multilateral, and the excuse is that it's a thing and all that. Again, that point has been thrown around, but something's got to go. If you don't stand for something in life, you'll fall for everything. And I think for the longest time, that I thought cricket and politics should be kept apart, but I think that's naive in this backdrop, So, and you got to be standing with the feelings and emotions of families who have lost their young sons. And can you imagine how would they feel if we rub shoulders with them on the field of play? And other argument is that I want to just deprive them of whatever gives them revenue, pleasure, validation in everything. And I think I'm glad that the government, in spite of 7 attacks, in spite of 23 years of giving MFN, they've finally taken it away, in spite of Pakistan not reciprocating. So keeping aside the revenue part of it, the economics of it, I just feel that we should just stop every connection, every game, everything with them.
All right. Well, Pradeep Magazine, that's what Atul Vasan thinks. Is it possible to do that? Because it's not going to be that easy. How does India write to the ICC and say, don't let a third country play? Is that possible? What do the rules say?
Nidhi, it's a very complex issue. I respect Atul's whatever sentiment he has, his emotions. Millions of people in India who may want India not to play Pakistan. But what purpose does it serve? That's a larger question. We don't play Pakistan in World Cup means they win that game. They get 2 points. We concede the match, as a lot of, like Sunil Gavaskar has said, even Sachin has said. Does it help? I would say that you play that match regardless of who wins, and let us not say that since we have defeated them and we will defeat them again. That is again a problematic articulation, for the simple reason that it's a game. India can lose also. So let's not make it into a war between the two nations. Yes, we expect India to win on form, but the larger issue is that we can use that match for making a propaganda that, look, we can advertise in the on the cameras everywhere, the crowd, the Indians, that Pakistan is supporting terrorism and they should be held accountable for it. There are ways, these are diplomatic pressures. It's not as if we don't play and suddenly terrorism will stop, or the Kashmir problem, the root cause of it, which needs to be addressed, but that's a different politics. So, I mean, what purpose does it serve? I see it serving no purpose at all.
Latika, what do you think? Let me get first comments from everybody. Just on, on principle, do you agree with Pradeep or with Atul here?
I think I would tend to go with Atul, because cricket, movies, television, the artists of Pakistan are very much a cultural integration and an acceptance. They sort of represent acceptance of us to them and them to us. And when there is so much acrimony and when there is so much of jingoism, I think in that kind of environment, to say that we are all together and we all have common interests and we all should be sort of seen together on a world stage and all that. I mean, there needs to be at least some sort of objection to what they are doing, and there seems to be some sort of need for the patriotic spirit to rise and for people to say that there are some things that we will not tolerate and we will not look the other way because it's just convenient. It's cricket, or it's an artist, or it's a movie star. So we're all okay with that.
Dilip Cherian?
I think it's a bit of pointless pugnaciousness being disguised as patriotism. I think we need to drop this kind of charade. Whatever needs to be done on the diplomatic front, whatever needs to be done on the military front, go ahead, do it. But I think drop this farce about trying to isolate Pakistan because of our pulling out of something. Pakistan will continue to play its role with whatever fields that the world allows it to play. And I think that that's something that we have to come to terms with, that unless the reality is that we can alter every single playing field to our convenience, then we should recognize that being out of it means that we simply like a country which wants to ring fence ourselves in rather than actually harm the enemy. I'd like to see some harm happening there, but that's in terms of what we should do in reply militarily rather than anything else.
So you believe, you're saying keep cricket out of it.
That's right.
Keep cricket out of it.
Absolutely.
So,
keep cricket out of it. Keep politics out of cricket and politics out of all the other worlds of art and craft, and let isolation be economic, which is what actually hurts much more than anything else, and then the rest of the stuff you need to do, which is the military bit, that you got to figure out what is appropriate and what is to be done.
So Atul, how would it work though? Coming back to this whole India saying to the ICC that cricketing nations should sever ties with any country, with Pakistan basically. Now, that is not, how is that going to work? How is that going to be possible? How can we ask the ICC to do that? I mean, either then India then takes a stand and says we will not play in the World Cup. Is India going to, you think, be willing to do that?
Yeah, why not? I think I was amused by some of the comments by the greats, that we'll lose 2 points, I'm shocked actually. Is 2 points worth more than the kind of anguish we'll send across the line? You ask any common man on the street, he will relate. And Dilip is saying that cricket and politics is separate. No, in this backdrop, because cricket is part of our fabric. We just feel that if we are playing cricket, things are normal. They don't care about if we don't do the trade. We have lost a lot of money because Pakistan sends across 500 million of goods. We sell across 2 billion of goods. So we stand to lose a lot. But do you think the government cares at this point? No. We spend almost 3 lakh crores every year on defense. For what? 3 lakh crores can uplift millions of people in the world. But no, we are nationalists. We have to show that we are doing something. So it's symbolism. And BCCI has done the right thing to go ahead, and it's not going to happen in a million years where Pakistan is going to be taken away from ICC because and people have got this wrong perception that BCCI with the financial muscle controls ICC. But at least you have gone that route, you have done the protocol. Now the ball is back because they're going to refuse, and now the government is going to take a call. And if we don't play Pakistan, life will go on, but we'll feel pride that we have deprived them. We might, another scenario
but
is
are you saying,
we don't play them in the league.
Atul, are you saying,
we lose 2 points, we still make the finals.
That
and
the
Pakistan,
ICC will say no to this, but
if
that
Pakistan
India will play the...
beats them in the final.
No, what will you... That's my next question, that you're saying India would then, let's say, hypothetically play the World Cup anyway, but not play against Pakistan. So what if there is an India-Pakistan World Cup final, hypothetically? Then what? We'll just let them walk over with the... take away the World Cup trophy and go home?
Exactly, that's the point. So
you're
now...
okay with that?
Yeah, and that will showcase our resentment, our anguish. And I think that could be the perfect actually antidote to, the perfect thing for me to happen, but then it jeopardizes the World Cup. So in fact, we are in theory sabotaging the World Cup right away. That is a worry for ICC right now.
Pradeep Magazine, if you want to weigh in on that, how does this practically work?
You look, there are examples of, like, India in '74 did not, it made the challenge around the finals of what it's today is Davis Cup finals. It was to play South Africa. It forfeited that match, but it forfeited because apartheid was an issue, but it was not an issue just with India. It was not an India-South Africa issue. There were many, many other countries in the world which were stopped playing with South Africa because of that. If India can convince Australia, England, Zimbabwe, all other test-playing nations that, look, don't play with Pakistan, it will be a huge diplomatic victory, then ICC can have a rethink. But just for India to tell ICC that, look, ban them, I don't think it will work. How will it work? Because after all, it's an international tournament. If the International Olympic Committee tells India that in future you can't hold any tournament if you don't allow visa to Pakistani athletes who were to come here, the shooters were to come here, India refused it, and it's paying that consequences. Actually. But if India wants to say that, look, we don't care, well, it's for Indian public, and Indians say, okay. But to think that by withdrawing from World Cup or not playing Pakistan, they are going to achieve something, I doubt it very much.
So, Latika, let's talk about what happened with the shooters and the the IOC's decision today. At the end of the day, when the IOC says that India cannot hold any sports events, sports tournaments anymore because we withdrew those visas to the Pakistani players, that hurts us. Who is it hurting at the end of the day? It hurts our international sporting image. It hurts the revenue that could have come in. It seems to be counterproductive.
No, I think I agree with what Pradeep said, is that probably a diplomatic mission to others, especially given the fact that India has a lot of clout on the cricket world stage, perhaps to convince them that this is happening and to try and bring in some sort of restrictions, or at least a slap on the wrist, or at least something coming in from the other cricket playing nations, because the World Cup, the ICC can't change the format of what exists at the moment. So now the thing is to be able to rally, like he pointed out, that apartheid was something that was universal. It was a lot of countries felt very strongly about it. So there are 10 major cricket playing nations or 12 major cricket playing nations, and maybe they should go around and try and see what they think about this, and are they okay with the fact that though terrorism seems to be continuing rampantly from the other side, there seems to be no means of our stopping it, and culturally we're all supposed to be so integrated that we just let these things go and then let the politicians handle everything else. I mean, there seems to be a slip here.
Of course, that's easier said than done. I mean, as Pradeep Magazine rightly pointed out, apartheid was an issue that affected many countries, and this is an issue between India and Pakistan. But Dilip Cherian, the point that Atul Vasan raised right at the beginning, a very valid one, that we've gone through this cycle before. It's like deja vu, right? There is a terror attack. We stop playing cricket, with bilateral cricket with Pakistan at least. Then we start playing again, and we just keep going through that cycle all the time. So either then India takes a decision and the BCCI takes a decision that we will not play them at all, ever. And that's not going to happen, is it?
This is a case of once more with feeling. We are pandering to a large WhatsApp audience which has very strong feelings, which it wants to express, these warriors on Twitter and things like that. I think that while the genuine grief is felt, if India's grief is real, as I said, the action needs to be in the fields where the action is needed, i.e. either militarily or diplomatically, and that isolation needs to be acted on continuously and strongly. Here we have a situation of actually now finally reversing our decision on giving them excess water, not the water they deserve, but just the excess water, because we cannot deprive them of the water they actually get. Second, we are now repealing the MFN, as Atul said, after many years at a huge cost to both economies, and that's a good decision. I think that economically and in the other areas it's fine, but if we start trying to do this elsewhere, it's a bit, unless we can actually do what Latika said and what Pradeep has indicated, that move diplomatically to make others join us. Otherwise it will look a bit silly.
So Pradeep Magazine, the last question to you then is, we were pointing out how difficult this process actually is going to be at the ICC. It's going to have to be voted on, and we understand from our sources that most other countries are not on board with this, and the BCCI probably knows that. So where do we go from here? I mean, as Vinod Rai in a sense hinted, he said, well, June 16th is still far away.
I think BCCI by going to this extreme has complicated the situation, because now they have raised the stakes so high. Now if the government is seen saying that, okay, play with Pakistan, they will face flag. Yeah. If they say don't play, then again. So it's a kind of a catch-22 situation. My sense is, given the way it is playing out in TV channels, in WhatsApp, maybe government would have no choice left saying that don't play, but it's not going to be easy for them to say no.
Yeah, but don't play means what? It means
concede.
Out of the World Cup?
It means concede the match. And what happens if India, Pakistan play semi-final, final? Are we going to concede even that? Well, as Atul says that yes, why not? And that will show our resentment. But yes, that will show our resentment to ourselves. Will it help internationally?
Atul, quick response. I think most Indian fans would rather see India beat Pakistan in that semi-final or final.
There are ways to get out of it. There are ways to get out of it, because in 2016 Rio Olympics, one of the wrestlers from Saudi Arabia didn't turn up for a medal match with Israeli, and he said shoulder problem. So who is to stop when India comes to the final and 9 players wake up with food poisoning? Everything gets sorted.
And I think
discussing cricket at this point is like, what's for dessert when there's a lynch mob at the door?
All right. Well, as someone just messaged me, India will play Pakistan because the match is after the elections. So let us see whether that prophecy is correct. That is another angle to this. Anyway, thank you to all of you for joining us tonight and weighing in with your thoughts. Thank you.